Hey, it's Tom again, back with another special feature. So, you probably seen my video part 1, custom knives. Yeah, I can't say enough about them. I know what I got in them, and if you pay the right price, you'll get the right quality. If you want to own a custom blade, well, you can get them for a lesser price. Don't expect the quality you would if you put money into it. There's one knife maker out there that I spoke of in my last video, can put you a custom knife on your table for 60 bucks. That's not, putting down any other knife maker on YouTube, whether it be William Collins or Tom Chitwood, anything like that. Mike Ware. William Collins, you can find him at William Collins on here on the YouTube. Hell of a nice guy, great bushcrafter, and what can you say about his knives? Mike Ware is that self-absorbed reliance. That's his name channel, or his channel name. Yeah. Another phenomenal guy. Makes a heck of a knife. Tom Chitwood. Everybody knows about Tom Chitwood. He's on YouTube. Tom Chitwood Blade Works. When he recovers from his accident, and thank God you're still here with us, he'll be back doing knives, and I will have the pleasure of finding out about his blades and Mike Ware's in the near future. Alright, so this is part 2. Part 2 is commercial knives. These are all commercial knives. Now these knives range from high-end, low-end, no special order here, but I think I got a pretty good smattering of knives covered. Let me take them out of the sheaths so you can see them. Let's put the sheaths down here. This one I got to be careful with. This looks like a sheath graveyard over here already. Okay. Oh, there we go. I have to switch that. I don't like that idea. Alright. Poof! I say open sesame. Alright. Now, let's cover them real quick in case you don't recognize them, this is a Schrade 38. Yeah, I got that right. I always call it a 37. This is the Schrade 59. Gerber Prodigy. This is Blackjack International. M-Tech. Ontario. Another M-Tech. Another Ontario. Uncle Henry. Another Ontario. I do have some other blades, but, this is what I got. Okay. Commercial knives. Well, the first question everybody asks me is commercial knives as good as a custom? And it falls back to this 2 problems. Number 1, well, it depends on what you like. Number 2, well, it depends on how much you want to spend. That's the 2 problems. I'm going to use the knife for example you probably seen in my last video. This is Backwoods Knives. That's a custom made. That is $60 to your door. Trying to think of one here. That's around the same price. The Gerber Prodigy. Alright, this is made in USA, by the way. So, I know it's in this knife. I spent, Charles sent me the knife, and I intend to buy another one. But anyway, I know it's in this knife. I don't know what's in this knife. I know this is a full tang. Scandi grind, ba 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 ba. This I go in the store if I want it. Well, geez, it only has serrations. Don't knock serrations. They come in handy in the woods. They can do notches. You can also feather stick. They do a lot of things. But anyway, if I go in the store and I don't like serrations, but I love this knife, do I buy it and put up with the serrations or don't I? Well, 90% of them is, I'm not spending $60 on a knife I don't like. It says it's full tang, but if this is the width of the tang through this handle, it's more of a rat tail. So basically, in the back here, it's going to have to really widen out to that thick and then run up the rest of the blade. Well, if you do that, the blade here is deeper than here. Same thing with the top edge. So I'm thinking it's more of a rat tail type. Nice 90-degree spine on them. Super sharp. But this is the same price range as that. I don't know what's under here. I know it's under there. Will this last you the rest of your life? Probably. The last one I had, I gave to a friend of mine. He was moving to Arizona and he wanted a good knife. I gave him one of them. It was ACU camouflage with a tanto point. Last time I heard, he's basically a desert bum and doesn't have another knife with him. So let's start here. This is about a $35 knife. It's a 1/4 inch thick. It does take a razor sharp edge. Of course it doesn't right now, but it does take a razor sharp edge. TPE handles, you all know the specs. Will this knife last you the rest of your life? I'm not so sure. I've seen a couple of them broke. 440 stainless. You can remove the scales, put what kind of scales you want on them if something ever happens. Now, I did modify this knife. You're asking what? Okay, what I did is I actually cut this flat. The TPE, you can cut it with a hacksaw. I cut this flat so that with the sheath, instead of having to do this, because I'm left-handed, instead of having to do this all the time with it, I can flip the knife over, put it in, still have the same coverage of the blade, but yet now it's left-handed. The sheath is modified. There's 4 or 5 stitches right here because I lost my 37. I'm not going to say why. This commercial knife. Would I trust my life to it? Yeah. I wouldn't go beating on it. But yeah, I would trust my life. This is a Schrade 59. G10 handle scales, really thin profile knife. If I'm not carrying that one from Widowmaker knives, I'm carrying this as a necker. Why? Because I can beat the crap out of this knife. I think I paid $15 for it. I can beat the crap out of this knife, and it is rusting. Nice. It is rusting, so I know there's good carbon content. There's a difference between 440A, 440C, 440HC. 440A is just your plain average 440. 440HC is a high carbon. A lot of people argue with me on here. There's no such a thing as high carbon stainless steel. Yes, there is. It's right here. It's right here. These are stainless. They've got enough of a carbon content in them to rust. So you tell me. Stop arguing. Be nice about it. So commercial knives, back to where we started. Depends on what you want to pay for them. 35 bucks. If you break it, throw it away. But if you break it and you need it, now you're up the creek. 15 bucks. If you break it, you lose it. Whatever. Same deal though. If you break it, you're up the creek. A lot of guys only use this knife for bushcrafting. This one here is a little bit more expensive. This is, like I said, in that range, about $50 to $60. It's a 1/4 inch, nice spine. If you break it, you're out a little bit of money. You're out a little bit of money. Is it up to custom quality? Yeah, it is. I have yet to break one. And I've had 3 of them. I've given two away. And this is my 3rd one. I bought that off Chad Collins when he was having his knife sale. Now, this is a blackjack knife, commercial, you know. I think this was $15. Nice 90-degree spine. Can't say it's the best, but it'll work. Nice 90-degree spine. Down in here is a nice 90. This is a flat grind, or a hollow grind, I mean. And I don't like hollow ground knives, but this will work. Will I trust my life to it? No. But will I go hunting with it? Yes. When I go hunting, I will carry a hunting knife because people around in my area get freaked out about tactical stuff. I'll carry a hunting knife, but I'll carry something like this in my bag or in the pouch of my hunting vest. Why? Well, if I get lost, this ain't up to the task, so I want a blade with me. This is an M-Tech. M-Tech has got a bad rep with everybody because they make cheap knives. Doesn't matter if it's a cheap knife, it's a good knife. Is it going to get you through, you know, your average everyday weekend? I'm going to cut this up, I'm going to cut that up. This was bought for a friend of mine because mosquitoes. He wanted a boot knife looking thing that was an actual knife and so on and so forth. So I bought it for a friend of mine. He let me borrow it for this video. "90-degree spine." So he wants it as a backup knife. I'd use it for a backup knife. I like M-Techs. This is an Ontario field knife. The 5160 steel carbon. As you can tell, I've been using a lot out of this knife. The only complaint I have of these knives is the laminated handles. They are slippery. Little grip tape, or if your hands are a little sweaty, you're good. But now I don't, and I'm not endorsed by Ontario in any way, shape, or form. I just review for them like I would with Charade. Ontario. I think this blade is $125, I believe. Don't quote me. Comes with this and a nylon sheath, a ferro rod, and a paracord bracelet. For as much as I've used this knife, I've honed it once, just like I would say with Charles Hoffman's first knife, William Collins's. So if you're in the mood for a commercial blade that's going to give you custom quality, I would go with this one if you're looking for a small bladed knife. Spine on this knife is sharp enough you could actually cut yourself on. Don't have to worry about the spine on this one, or any of the Ontarios. So that's the Ontario field knife. This is a lawsuit knife. This is an M-Tech. Obviously, it's a knockoff of Tom Brown's Tracker. Now, here's where the commercial thing comes in. Tom Brown's Tracker is really sharp here. So you do have some edge here. This is a saber grind. This is a high saber grind. Great for splitting wood. Great for cleaving bone. Great for skinning. In case you're wondering what all this is about, this is for breaking bone. But if you turn it sideways just a little bit, it will, and filleting or scaling fish also. But if you turn this sideways, it will notch a little bit. I am not really sure what this was designed to do with Tom's blades, but what I've found is it works good for this. If you're skinning something where you got to bust through a sternum or whatever, you know, you've got it. 440 HC. Decent spine. Wouldn't say great, but decent. Handles are, oh my God, I'm not going to remember the name of it, but the scales are made out of, it's a wood texture, and it's a plastic, but it's got a wood texture to it. The pins, the handle's nice and beefy. I'd go into the woods with this knife. It's 1/4 inch thick. No, it's not. I'm sorry. This is 3/16. I'd go into the woods with this knife. Now, I found this for $15. These are not something you're going to find for $15 because it's a lawsuit knife and they were pulled from the market years ago. But you can find Chinese copies of this all over the internet. Blackie from Shaman's Forge has one. He likes it. He uses it all the time. He just designated it as a fishing knife. It's 440, so you don't have to worry about it. Just plain 440, not HC. Alright, so that's this knife. This, well, you all know this is near and dear to my heart. It's a K-bar design. No, it's not. This blade design, little history, little reading, is an open design from World War II. They farmed this out to Ontario, Camillus, whatever you want to pronounce it. There's a typewriter company, Smith Corona, made these knives. Ontario, K-bar. K-bar got adopted as the official marine fighting knife. This is the Ontario 498 combat knife. If you're looking for a K-bar, quality, what K-bar used to be, this is it. This is the knife you want. $40 on eBay. It does have a rat tail tang. It's leather handled or stacked handles. It's really nice in the hand. Does a decent job of chopping. As with all Ontario knives, it's not a K-bar that you have to go filing. This is Uncle Henry hunting knife. And like I said, I carry my hunting knife and I will carry a combat blade with me. Why? Durability is the reason. This is an Uncle Henry hunting knife. It's got staglon handles. It's rat-tailed. You know, it's a nice looking knife. It's a golden spike. I love this knife for hunting. I have seen this knife used by John Sasser, who, if you back up to the 70s, long before, you know, everybody else that came on the scene, John was one of the premier survivalists in America. So that's, you know, he was out there. He was also an Air Force Syria instructor, and he was also a Green Beret. Now, this is a hunting knife. Stainless steel, no carbon. It would be enough with the right tinder to get you a fire going. You've all seen this one. This is the Bushcraft Woodsman. Out of all the knives I have, as far as big knives, they're all Ontarios. I have an SP5. I do have a Coleman Western Bowie that I don't use because, well, that was actually the last thing my late wife bought me, and it kind of hangs on my wall. Said and done. I can't say enough about this knife. If you back up in my videos to last year's videos, you'll see me shoot this knife 4 times with a 22 at 20 yards and 25 yards. One shot, split the bullet on the spine, not done purposely, it was a complete accident. But split the bullet right here on the spine. Did not stab the knife, and I've been beating this thing through thick, thin. I beat it through cherry, oak, you name it. So, what's the difference between all of these knives and this? It's the same thing. You're going to look out someday and find a custom quality blade for cheap money. Okay? Custom quality blades for cheap money. And you're also going to find that sometimes you're going to luck out and find cheap knives that has custom quality to them. But generally speaking, that's the luck of the draw. Generally speaking, the more money you put into a commercial knife, the better it is. I'm trying to think of a couple here. Just the Ontario's. Schrade is commercial quality knives, and they're cheap prices. And for the average bushcrafter, it's going to get you through. Most of these knives I wouldn't go into the woods with on a I have to have this blade basis. Most of them. Some of them I would. But that's the thing about commercial knives. There's a whole splattering here from $15 to $200. And they range your price. Like, I would consider this a custom quality. I'd consider this custom quality, this custom quality. Even down to this M-Tech. If you're willing to put the time in getting the blade sharp, because they do hold an edge. And there's some problems with the scales and whatnot. I don't use this because it's a safe queen. It's a lawsuit knife. But, you know, yeah, I would go in the woods with these knives. I've been in the woods with this one. This is the Schrade 38. I've been in the woods with that one. It's the Schrade 59. I've been in the woods with that. Since I bought it off Chad, I've had 2 or 3 outings with that. This one I haven't been in the woods yet. This is a recent acquisition. This one isn't mine. This one I beat through the woods for the last almost a year now. This one's a safe queen, it doesn't leave. This one I've beat quite extensively through the woods. And I haven't even started wearing the coating off. This one's been with me for about 8 years hunting. It's, you know, skinned quite a few deers. This one, this has been on a lot of outings too, and this usually goes, you know, in the pack in case I need to do some chopping. So yeah, if you want to put the money into it, some of these blades you can spend cheap money and get custom quality. Some of these blades you can spend cheap money and get, let's say, medium quality. Some of these blades you can spend the money and get absolutely junk. All depends, do your research. M-Techs. Everybody, the M-Tech has a bad rep. Oh yeah, they're junk, they're this, they're that. Yeah, they do make some junk knives. I won't argue that. What I will argue though is I've seen on YouTube gentlemen take a 380, not a 22, shoot an M-Tech, and it looked kind of like this K-bar. I'm not sure what model it is. Shoot an M-Tech with a 380 5 times. Busted the handle up, yes. Didn't bend the blade. Didn't crack the blade. And proceeded to use it through months of bushcrafting until he got a different blade. So, commercial knives is the luck of the draw, unless you want to put money into them. If you want to put money into them, you can go mid-range. You can go high range. This is mid-range too. You can go high range, and you're going to get custom quality. And with the makers too. I mean, you got to watch the makers you're playing with. So, this is part 2 to the custom versus, you know, commercial knife type thing. Like I said, there's some knives on this table I don't even know if I take hunting, to be honest with you. They have a great edge, sorry. They have a great edge, but they hold it, I have no clue yet. There's a difference between cut and paper and cut and hide. There's a difference between skin and bark and, say, the cut and paper, let's just put it that way. That seems to be everybody's happy test medium. There's a big difference. That hair and that hide and everything puts a beating on your edge. there's a big difference in knives too as to what will take a razor's edge and what won't. If you start out with a razor's edge, you're going to lose it 2 or 3 animals into the day, possibly even 1. But it's going to hold a good enough edge to get you through the day, get you through a couple of days without having to really worry about it. I'm not going to point them out because, you know, I'm not going to knock anybody's knives. But there's knives on this table that have done extensive skinning. I've let my brother use it, I've let my nephew use it, and, you know, they've done extensive skinning, whether it be pigs or squirrels, you name it, deer. And they've held up. They've come back to be not razor sharp, but they've come back to be sharp. If you want my honest opinion, if I was to buy any of the knives on this table, and it's not a biased opinion, I just feel I owe it to my subscribers to let them know, you know, if I was to buy any knife on this table, that I would say, okay, you can go in the woods with, not worry. Neck knife, just plain camp chores. Beefier chores. Camp chores and good beefy chores. Build a log cabin out of both of these knives. And since this is the one I have, for example, I would take any time one of these backwood knives, William Collins's. I would even say Tom Chitwood and Mike Ware's knives, just because I have friends that I know how they are on equipment, and they